Mother, tell your children not to walk my way. Tell your children not to hear my words, what they mean, what they say.
Hello all, and welcome to another video with me, Truthslayer. This will be a stuff video, which is me, of course, just going past the weekend, last week's events, and wrapping them up, and just kind of talking about them a little bit. So, let's get started. Start with WWE, as always. Not much really to talk about. Raw was more of what I feel like they need to be doing. I thought it was pretty good. The wrestling kind of took a back seat, and the Crime Time Rednecks match didn't make much sense. But hey, everything else I thought at least worked. I thought it was enjoyable, better than some of the stuff we have seen over the last couple of months. So there you go. ECW, I thought ECW was okay again. Still better than Raw in a lot of respects, but not great. I know a lot of people are probably upset over Punk getting the loss to Big V, but I didn't mind it too much. I thought it worked. I thought it worked for both guys, and I definitely think that it sets up perhaps a feud down the line, particularly if Punk gets the title. And didn't see SmackDown, so really can't comment on SmackDown. But yeah. Anyways, again, not much really to talk about WWE. And then we go to TNA. I already talked about Hard Justice, the pay-per-view, how utterly horrible I felt it was. Then we get to Impact. Blah. I didn't really watch Impact, but to be honest, but from what I read, didn't sound too impressive to me. Sounded more of the same stuff they shouldn't be doing. Again, too much entertainment, not enough wrestling, in my opinion. And of course, for those of you who have not seen the video, the Kurt Angle goes to Connecticut video. Crap, in my opinion. He looked like Steve Austin. He looked like he was trying to be Steve Austin and not Kurt Angle. It was just more shots at WWE and not the right types of shots. If you want to take shots at WWE, then have your guys. You just signed Test. Have him go out there and have him shoot on Triple H. Have him go out there and shoot on Stephanie McMahon. Have guys go out there and explain what's bad about the WWE. Do that sort of thing if you want to start bashing on WWE. Don't do these stupid videos that probably looked like a lot of money to do. I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was cheesy. He looked, like I said, he looked more like Steve Austin than he did Kurt Angle. Didn't even seem like Kurt Angle to me. So, there you go. Also, TNA released some guys. Mike Johnson is reporting that Jerry Lynn, Matt Bentley, Brother Runt, Damaja, and Basham have all been released from TNA. Apparently, Jerry Lynn asked to be released, which to me speaks volumes, because anytime Jerry Lynn's pretty much been there, I believe, since day one. And for him to basically say, I'm done, I think says a lot about the company right now and where the company's going. And also, Matt Bentley went on Between the Ropes and basically ripped TNA apart. If you have not seen the interview, MB Wrestler 87, MB 700, he posted up most of it. If you go to the site that I have linked, I have the video linked. And also, I have the actual site for the show if you want to actually see the whole show, which I would also say to check out, because yeah, he basically ripped TNA apart, in my opinion. And Bill and Doug, and to everyone else that says that none of us know what's going on backstage, well, here's a guy that knows what's going on backstage, and pretty much everything that me, Moral Virus, a lot of other people have said is going on backstage at TNA. Well, he just confirmed it. It's all going on there. Morale sucks. Everybody backstage feels that the ratings suck. Everyone backstage feels that the pay-per-view buy rates suck. They're getting 20,000 people, 20 to 50,000 people buy a pay-per-view to buy their pay-per-views. Folks, that is horrible, horrible, horrible is what that is. And yeah, definitely just check out the interview. Very eye-opening. The other big thing coming out of TNA today, this week, besides the fact that apparently Kurt Angle is going to defend all 3 titles at the next pay-per-view, God help us, please. This just sucks. What, whoever thought this up needs to be fired. I'm sorry. You can tell I can't even get upset at TNA anymore. This is how retarded this stuff is. But the other big news besides that is that apparently Dixie Carter is in talks with Brock Lesnar. Not too sure how this will work out because I'm not sure how much longer he has on his contract until he can't work for the WWE. But I don't understand how that whole thing works anyways, so I won't even try to. But that would be a mistake. As good as I think Brock Lesnar is, as much as I think Brock Lesnar could help TNA, and I do think he could help TNA, I don't think he's worth the money, to be completely honest, which you'll have to pay him. He's apparently asking somewhere between 6 and 7 figures. And you got a guy in Samoa Joe who basically can do everything Brock Lesnar can without the money or without the name, simply because he hasn't been to WWE. In my opinion, he can be Joe could be the same as Brock Lesnar and less money, so more cost effective. But no, what would they rather do? They would rather go out and hire Brock Lesnar, who won't work full time for TNA because he still wants apparently to do his MMA career. And it just, in my opinion, will not work for that very reason, because you're going to have a guy who, is not going to be want to look bad in a TNA ring because he is fighting MMA. So, I just don't see that working. I don't think it's a good idea, even though I'm sure a lot of people are jumping around going, "Yay, Brock Lesnar!" And I'm not a big fan of Brock Lesnar either. I think he's somewhat of a, jerk. But that's just me. I was also asked, I'll just talk about this. A lot of people asked me, about the Free Joe thing. The Free Joe thing isn't necessarily just a Free Joe. The Free Joe thing is to show our frustration to TNA about Joe and the fact that they have continually gotten, Joe wrong, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion too. A lot of people say, well, he's still the number 2 guy. He's not the number 2 guy. If anything, he's the most he is the number 3 guy. Jarrett is still either number 1 or number 2 guy, which will be proven when Hard Justice comes around, I believe, which is just horrible, horrible, horrible. The whole booking situation in TNA is horrible, in my opinion. Now let's talk a little bit Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor, there's not a lot of news to talk about except for their next shows. Their next shows will be in Hartford, Connecticut, which will be next Friday. Not this Friday, but next Friday. Or actually, yeah, I'm doing this Friday night, so yeah, next Friday. And the matches are as follows. We'll have a World Tag Team Title Steel Cage match versus Jay and Mark Briscoe versus Kevin Steen and El Generico, which should be very good. Another Steel Cage match, Jack Evans versus Roderick Strong. I expect that to be excellent as well. World Title match, Morishima versus Claudio Castagnoli versus Brent Albright in a 3-way elimination match, basically a 3-way dance. That match, again, I think should be very good. We will also have Bryan Danielson versus Pac from the UK. Excellent, excellent stuff in my opinion. Nigel McGuinness versus Delirious versus BJ Whitmer versus Adam Pearce. Again, I think that should be good. That could involve 161 and could be the first match, which we could see 161 involved. Halloween versus Chris Hero. Again, that should be, I think that should be an enjoyable match. Both guys work kind of the same style. And then next Saturday, it will be Ring of Honor in New York City, and all of their New York City shows, of course, are awesome, or have been awesome in my opinion. So that should be fun as well. And will be headlined by Morishima versus Bryan Danielson, which should be an amazing match in my opinion. We will also get to see in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the world title, Jay and Mark Briscoe versus Kevin Steen and El Generico. That should be excellent in my opinion. The Battle of Generation Next Founding Fathers, which will be Austin Aries versus Roderick Strong versus Jack Evans in a 3-way. Excellent. Special challenge match, Davey Richards versus Pac. Again, excellent. Matt Cross and Eric Stevens versus Mike Quackenbush making his debut at the Manhattan Center, and Jigsaw. Again, should be excellent stuff in my opinion. That's all for this one. Everybody, I hope you have a good one, and hope have a good weekend. Be safe, and I will talk to you soon. Later. Bye.